Welcome to another episode of Rise, Grind, Repeat. I'm Dustin Trout. Today I talked to an old high school friend, Caitie, who's over at the Scottsdale Performing Arts. And so really get into what they're doing. They're doing a lot of cool things in terms of automation and really using personalized messaging and trying to sell tickets and just promote the theater in general. And so talk a lot about what they're doing, how we have both learned in the digital industry in the last couple of years, and go over how we can kind of collaborate with each other to see if there's opportunity in us taking on some responsibility. And so it's a good hour or two of catching up, along with a lot of tidbits in the digital industry. So if you're looking for foot traffic or anything of performing arts, make sure you tune in. Let's jump right in. How'd you get into it?
I legitimately fell into it. So I went to, after graduation, I went to Caitie, did the 4 years there, started off in sports journalism. Yeah. It was an experience. Wouldn't have traded it for anything. It taught me more, I think, than like what they were. I learned a lot of just working with people and working around people, and I graduated and I went to work immediately at Costco as a sample girl, and I ended up just getting a couple of internships that led to a gig at Chandler Center for the Arts, because I was 22-year-old kid. Mm-hmm. I was on Twitter and Facebook. Instagram wasn't available on Android yet. It was.
Isn't that crazy?
It was in the dark days, man. It was wild. But yeah, it was then at Chandler Center for the Arts, and then I moved to Arizona Theater Company, and I was more like a project manager specialist person, and then I got a real big opportunity at Arizona Opera. I was there for 4 seasons, and
wow.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And is that the nonprofit that you were working at?
That's the different nonprofit. I've been skipping around arts nonprofits my whole career. It's just what I do.
Gotcha.
But there, so Arizona Opera performs 5 fully produced operas in both Phoenix and Tucson, but everything is based in Phoenix. So really, you're running 2 separate and almost identical marketing campaigns based on what you're doing in Phoenix versus what you're doing in Tucson. And so I was the only person running that full time, and so it was like, Caitie, we don't have a digital marketing presence. And I was like, cool, I am just gonna jump into this. I don't know what I'm doing quite yet. And so they let me do that for a couple of years, and then.
So what were you running there? Was it the paid search? Was it Facebook ads, or a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything, and then I managed an actual digital agency, and was like, this is also what I had to be able to talk to them and tell them what to do.
You actually had another agency running stuff, so you had to be the liaison between what you guys wanted, what needs to get executed on, and
exactly.
Dang,
and so then take that. I moved to Phoenix Theater, did the at one point we had 3 different agencies running 3 different parts of our digital campaigns, plus what I was doing on top of that. So it was paid search, it was social ads, it was display ads, because with the theater, we were running, a show runs 8 shows a week for 6 to 8 weeks. Plus, they had their Festival of New American Theater, they had their, development events, they had their summer camps and summer programming, and so
you guys were making a lot of changes on a daily, weekly basis, because there's just lots of changes.
Mm-hmm.
So were you guys trying to get foot traffic or ticket sales, a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. So, at the end of the day, I had to justify my position. So mm-hmm. It was you had to bring in dollars in ticket sales. Yeah. And so, definitely just, making sure that the houses were as full as we could possibly get them. But then also, going through our database and using the tools that we had available to us as a nonprofit to really take a look at who our database was, and then start creating lookalikes of certain segments that we wanted to grow. So we realized that no matter what show we put on in this one specific theater, the person that went to that show, what I could, very easily say it was a Gen X or older millennial, mm-hmm. Late 30s. And we didn't really have a whole lot of those folks in our database that weren't coming because, they'd been coming with their parents for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so, going after those niche audiences and really trying to grow a more diverse group of folks was a big part of what I was doing.
Is digital something new for, I guess, the theater space? I mean, it's.
I mean, I would say within the last 5 years, definitely. Definitely in Phoenix. I mean, I know that there are places like, you know, in like LA Opera is a powerhouse, and Chicago Lyric and San Diego Repertory are just these monsters when it comes to digital arts, but to digital arts marketing. But really, in the last like 5 years, it's just been this whole new space where a lot of people are finding when you do it right, money that you spend is just money back in the door twice over, 3 times over.
Yeah, and the beauty about it is with the analytics side and everything that. It's tough to say John saw this TV ad and then came in and bought, whereas with the digital side,
it's right there.
Yeah, it's black and white.
And I mean, like, it can take, you know, folks, I think now it's up to like 9 hits to convert a sale. And when it's done digitally, you can track them through those 9 hits, and you can say, oh, okay, well, this ad that I had on this media site literally gave me no traffic. And so, you know, that's what I do a lot too with advertisers when they come to me and like, oh yeah, we get, you know, X amount of page views and people stay on our site this long and and I'm like, yeah, but on my end, like my ad that I gave you that I built with like my custom URL so I could track folks coming through, I got $2, so that wasn't worth it. Appreciate your time, kind of a deal. So
would you do direct buys, like you guys make banner ads and then reach out to sites directly?
Yeah. So kind of. So we'll do a lot of. Currently now, we didn't do so much of it at the theater, but where I am now, we'll do a lot of like partnering with like New Times or the Republic Media Network and stuff like that to go directly onto their site where it makes sense for us.
Yeah.
And so we're reevaluating kind of what that looks like because I've been there for a couple of months now and I'm starting to see kind of the things that I put out there and I was like, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, this makes everything look weird. And so we're starting to really kind of narrow down like, okay, for this type of performance, this type of banner ad on PBS just goes gangbusters, let's do it, type of deal.
So have you ever used like AdWords to target sites specifically? So how come you go to the site directly? Is it just more cost efficient?
Yeah, I mean, it's more cost efficient, and oftentimes the sites, if we do other media buys with them, so like PBS, for example, they usually bundle that part as part of a traditional ads package because at the end of the day, like what sells for them, it may not be what sells for me. You know, PBS they have a quarterly magazine that they say, hey, if you buy, you know, ad space on the back or on the inside cover, we'll give you X, Y, and Z on the digital side. And I'm like, well, what I really want is the digital stuff, so yeah, I'll buy whatever you tell me to do.
It's the value add.
Right, exactly. And so it's kind of making those judgment calls of when does it make sense to go through the Google Ad Network versus when does it make sense to reach out to the site directly.
So whenever, it sounds like you do a lot of testing as you dealing with the creative and where it shows up. Yeah. What are some of the things that you have done that you saw results where it's we've been doing it this way ever since but by doing this is what we did and these are the results?
Definitely. So one of the last things I did at the theater was they brought back Avenue Q. For anyone not familiar with it, it's a Sesame Street rated R. It's got oh my god, dude, it's got some of the best of like the Broadway songs that are just horrible. Like the song title is called "The Internet Is for Porn." The opening number is "What Do You Do with a B in English?" Yeah, like it was so much fun, and like there's one of the characters tries to he's still in the closet and he hasn't come to terms with that yet, so he says he has a girlfriend who lives in Canada, and this whole song is about like, well, no, I have this girlfriend and she's amazing and she's this humanitarian, she lives in Canada, you're never gonna meet her. Kind of, but it's a very satirical kind of look at like what that post-college life looks like, and you know, being a couple of years out from that is just like, oh man, that hurts, but it's fun. But anyway, so it was the fourth time in like 7 or 8 years that the theater had brought it back, and so we had said, well, basically everybody in our database has seen this show, so how do you get those guys who have seen it to be like, oh yeah, that was great, and come back, and then how do you get the other 6 million people who live in the city to try and come to the show? And so we did basically we ran three different sub campaigns in the Avenue Q campaign. So we ran it for our folks who was just our tried and true bread and butter, get it out the door.
These are our first party people who we know have bought.
Let's just hit them again.
Yeah.
The other one was to these people that we knew were like couples, and this was date night. They were Gen X, and then we did a lookalike audience and said, hey, this is a date night experience. The theater has a full service restaurant and bar. So if you buy this package that says, hey, for, I think it was like $120, you get 2 show tickets, 2 dinners, 2 drinks, 2 appetizers, and a dessert.
It's awesome.
Come give us your money.
Yeah.
Basically, we can refer you to a babysitter if you absolutely need to, but let's do this. And then we had one that was for our under 40 audience, and we said, hey, if you guys are under 40, here's this promo code. And you'll get tickets for $29. Like any seat in the house,
nice.
Best seat available. Click here, and each campaign went to a separate landing page that then went to a separate went through the ticketing portal. So we basically were able to track 3 different metrics, and we saw like a huge. So the previous year, nobody had used this promo code for the millennials, and we had said, is it even worth it to kind of do this?
Yeah.
It was like a little bit last minute. We were like, I don't know. And so we said, okay, we'll try it. We sent out a postcard to these people. We sent out these targeted digital ads, and we said, putting it out there, like if you try and game the system, we're probably gonna catch you. But
Did you guys have unique codes for the mailers as opposed to the digital?
Yep.
What drove a better ROI?
The digital, but only after the mailer dropped. And this is what we saw, and this is why I'm such a huge advocate for these like holistic campaigns, was like, yes, you will see an ad and okay, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, but I gotta go check it out later. And so, or you got an email that said, if you when you clicked on the ad, you hit the landing page, and if you hit the landing page, you got an email that said, hey, don't forget, you have these tickets that are available to you, check them out. That's gonna sit in your inbox until you remember. And so like we saw that like, after the postcard dropped, the folks that got both primarily went to the digital side, the digital promo code, because it was the one that they saw that they saw after they made the decision to buy. So they had this idea of like, oh, I saw the ad, great. I saw the postcard, great. And that third hit was like, oh yeah, that reminds me, I talked to my partner already. I have to go get these tickets now. It was wild.
Absolutely love that.
It was wild. Like because we were like, okay, we'll see the postcard number hit after the postcard goes, and then it'll die out. But like, no, the people just went really towards the digital side. So that was awesome.
Yeah. No, I love that because it's so many people focus on, all right, we're gonna run this campaign. We're gonna do it on search only. We're gonna do this on fit. And it's in today's world, like, love a couple minutes ago whenever you brought up that it takes I think you said 7 or 8.
7 to 9 hits. And that's for somebody who's already familiar with your brand. Like
exactly.
If someone's like, hey, knock on your door, this is a whole new concept and a whole new experience, you have to knock on the door like 17, 18 times. It's just like a lot to come after those guys.
Yeah.
It's so expensive but you have to have this holistic picture of like, how am I going to get in front of this person?
Yep. And it's amazing what it does on the other end when all of a sudden they see a mailer and then see a Facebook ad and then do a search and see it. All of a sudden it's like, oh, these guys are doing something right. Like it's even if you're not doing a ton more, just by seeing it across other channels, it's these guys are professional. They know that, like, it just builds that brand trust.
And basically, if I'm like borderline creeping you out with how often you see my ad, I'm doing my job right.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to like actually creep you out, like follow you around in Target and be like, psst, get your tickets for a show. But like, if you see me frequently enough that like I'm at the top of your Facebook feed, or I'm at the top of your Instagram feed, or you're browsing an app and you see my ad, and then you see something else that's non-digital, and then I'm just kind of all over the place on your work phone, on your work computer, on your home phone, like, I'm doing my job right.
Yeah, exactly. It probably helps that, like, maybe you didn't start in an agency type of environment, because a lot of people, they'll become a paid search person or a social ad person, but then they get stuck in that lane.
Right.
Like anything that we recommend, they don't take a step back and look at the holistic picture, the bigger overall picture.
And that's one thing that I loved about. So generally with nonprofits, you can either that I've seen is you either come in at the very beginning, and so no one knows enough to tell you, hey, don't do that. That's not the right thing. You just learn on your own. Or you come in and you're like, hey, I've done this a couple of times. I know what works. I will still make money on doing this thing, but let me just try something kind of weird and kind of wild and kind of dumb. But let's do it. Let's go. Not dumb, sorry. But like something that you wouldn't think to do.
It's outside the box thinking.
Yeah, and it's just and you know.
Do you
not
often get pushback from that, or?
Oh gosh, yes. But that's the part of it too. Is like, at the end of the day, if the money that we make is worth it, you know. Why not? Like, why not try something different? It's okay. It's okay to fail, and that's one thing that. I understand people get a little concerned about when you're like, yeah, but we've got sales goals to make. Like, there are actual humans that are, you know, going to be impacted whether or not you make these sales goals. And I'm like, yeah, but cool point. What we've tried before, we know what responds. And if we keep doing what we've done before, we're going to get the same exact responses.
It's not going to trend in a positive direction.
It's not going to do anything.
Yes, and I love that because it's... and it all comes down to a matter of the allocation. You don't put 100% of your budget into this test.
Right.
You like basically earmark a little 10% of your budget. Mm-hmm. This is going to be toward testing off the wall stuff. It's not going to affect everything.
Exactly.
But I mean, 80% of the time we're probably going to fail. But that 20%, we're going to find little nuggets that we can then shift over here. That over the course of the year, it's the growth is amazing.
Yeah,
but
and make that little 20% a part of that larger whole.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, you know, and that's one thing that whenever I get pushback is like, look, what's your risk level on this show? Like, how comfortable are you with me trying something out, trying something different? And if the person's like, you know what, I'm not comfortable with that at all. It's like, okay, that's fine. $500.
Yeah.
You are not gonna miss $500. Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm actually not even going to tell you.
No one's life is going to be ruined over...
Yeah. I'm not even going to tell you that I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go do it. And we're going to see what happens. And then when I'm right, I promise I won't lord it over you too much. We all know I'm lying.
Too much.
No.
That's the beauty about data.
Yeah, and that's just it, too. It's like you just walk in there with your Google Analytics reports and be like, bam, hi.
I love it, yeah, because it's even agencies and other stuff, it's funny how decisions are made because... the top person made a decision, not because it's here, look what the data, and it's I see too many times where it's no, we're doing it this way when it's like, why can't we do it this way and this way?
Yeah.
Let's use the data to see. I mean, there might be things that we learn from here and here that we can combine to make one awesome. Like, why does it need to be this way? And it's amazing how much ego trumps like just growth because I gotta be right.
Well,
you know
and
what I mean?
That's just it too. It's like, and especially, you know, like when you, exactly, with ego of like, hey, this thing that you're doing, I know you love it and it's your baby, but, and this is something too I do, because I'm like, no, this is perfect, it's mine, it's my baby. What are you talking about? This is like flawless, get away from me. But being able to take that step back and say, you know what, this is fine and great, but I mean, just because there is I'm sorry, I'm gonna get like so off track.
Oh,
there
you're
is value in looking back historically and seeing what's done, but you can't do that for 5 years. Like at some point you have to just say, let's.
I mean, you can, but then look at Fujifilm. Look at all the. I mean, look at all these huge.
Sears.
Yeah.
Look at Sears.
These tried and true brands that just did it right. But eventually, you get to where it's that's not how it is anymore. Like things change. Nothing stays the same, and it's the longer you're set in that old mentality, the quicker. Yeah. Your demise is going to be almost.
Be the Amazon. Don't be Sears.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. That's awesome. So, what are some of the things that like? Outside the box thinking that you guys would do? Would it come down to maybe targeting a new audience, or is it the messaging, or where you show up, or like what are some of the things that you would do?
Short answer, yes.
All of it.
So, and that's just it's really easy for, you know, especially us who are in this world daily, you know, when you and I see an ad, we don't see an ad to like, you know, if we see an ad for like toilet paper online, I'm not like, oh yeah, that reminds me, I have to buy toilet paper. I know I have to buy toilet paper, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, what's the image that they're using? What's their headline? What's their call to action? Where's this landing page taking me? Like, am I going to go to like Charmin's landing page, or is it like a sneaky redirect to like something else? What's going? And so when you're in that world and when you're in that mindset, it's really, really easy to translate what you've seen into your own work and just kind of regurgitating the stuff that you know works because got you to click on it. And so it's just remembering that it's okay to break away from the tried and true, and it's okay to break away and just break the mold. and just like, you know what? Yeah, this headline sounds super weird and super off the wall and super clickbaity, and it's an inside joke for this show, but the people who are going to get it are going to lose their minds.
Exactly.
And they're going to love it. They're going to remember this, and it's going to be worth it for those 10 people.
Yeah, which there's probably more of a chance of them actually sharing it with their friends rather than just, hey, let's have this blanketed headline that's supposed to reach everyone. It's like, you're just going to sound boring, and it's not going to resonate with anyone. You're not going to catch eyeballs, which is the entire point of marketing is get eyeballs, get the click, get the sale.
So like at Arizona Opera, they kind of let me do whatever I wanted, and it was amazing.
That's cool.
It was amazing, and the amount of crazy that we were able to kind of come up with for our social ads, and the organization had this, every time a show came out, there was a meme associated with it. So
that's cool.
First time that I did this, I was like 90% sure I was going to get fired because I was like, but that was it. I was like, this is weird. This is bizarre. This makes no sense. But the people who are going to get it are going to like love it. So the opera was The Flying Dutchman, which, long story short, it's Wagner. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The ending I hate, but that's beside the point. The girl is supposed to marry this one dude. He's great and everything, but he's a person, and he's like a moral man. She meets the Flying Dutchman, who's this cursed spirit, and falls in love with him and decides that she wants to be with him for forever and kills herself to be with him. It's great German opera. But there's a moment in the song where the Dutchman is trying to convince the girl to run away with him and join him and be a part of his life. And it was literally the week that the Carly Rae Jepsen Call Me Maybe dropped and went bonkers. So that was everywhere. So it was the image of Senta was the girl's name, was the character's name, and the Dutchman in this embrace on camera with the text. It was basically ripping off of sort of Run Away with the Call Me Maybe's lyrics, but relating them to the show, because it's literally what he tells her was, I just met you and I think this is crazy, or I can't remember the song now. It's I just met you and this is crazy. I think I love you, sail away with me, maybe. And it was that. But, we got so much traction on that style and that idea. For Don Giovanni, it was, hide your kids, hide your wife. Because if you're familiar with Don Giovanni, I swear to God, he spends the first 20 minutes going after someone's daughter and then someone's wife. It's wild. For Carmen, it was cat fights and bullfights, because that was just how do we sum up these classic operas that are just supposed to be these grand spectacle things, but make them relatable. And so
that's the key, is making it relatable.
That was exactly it. Was making these things relevant.
And that's so cool, because it's so many people push against it because there's this huge thing with we gotta be more professional, and it's that line is kind of just going away.
No.
You gotta be relatable. You have to be a brand that basically someone would want to sit to next to at a bar and actually talk to you, or something like that.
My favorite Twitter account is the Moon Pie Twitter account. Honestly, because they're just insane, and they just do all kinds of weird stuff.
Do you like the Wendy's one?
I do. I Wendy's is what I go to when I'm having a bad day, and I'm like, I just need to watch somebody having a worse day than me. Let me go to Wendy's. But being relatable and then having the metrics to back up that of saying, hey, when we broke the mold, when we stopped being this professional brand and we were a person, we let our personality come through, we make money. Let me do that more often. 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, okay, great, make money. We don't care.
Yeah, well, people want to talk to someone that can relate to them, not someone that's going to be rigid and just, and I could, especially in the theater part where it's to a younger demographic, it's not as big.
It's not as relatable.
Compared to an older demographic. So by taking current events or what's big at the millennial level and tying it into this is what this is about, blah, 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 all of a sudden it's I didn't even know about that. I've heard of that, but I've never watched it, and then you just made it relatable, sparking the the interest. It seems so blind. It seems so easy.
I know. But it's easy for the people who are in it from the day to day. But reminding the people who aren't in the day to day and the decision makers and the guys who hold the credit card, that's where you're kind of okay, how do I make it now? Now I've made it relatable to the audience. How do I make it relatable to my management team?
Yep, and that's part of the reason why I'm kind of doing this is because. As much as I can say it, as it comes out from other people, and as we do it, it's people will stumble across it, listen to one podcast, listen to two, and all of a sudden I don't have to try and say this is how it should be, blah blah blah, by conversing about it with other people, it's like, oh wow, yeah, like why don't we do it? And just
other people, it's that mob mentality, right? Like, other people are doing this thing. Oh, I should be doing that thing too. And you're just like, sneaky, don't know what I want you to do. So, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you're doing quite a bit on, out other platforms, not just one or anything like that. Like, I kind of assume what it's going to be, but like, what is one huge piece of advice that you could have for anyone that has a business that is even thinking about getting into digital? And
take your time, first of all. I did this presentation where I talked to a whole bunch of entrepreneurial theater students and how to market yourself and how to get gigs and stuff like that, because like, it's just a dog eat dog world, even for Phoenix. For Phoenix, really quick, how are you guys on swearing?
Oh, great. You're fine.
So I have the 3 principles of be a person, don't half-ass it, and don't whole-ass it. So, like, be a person, right? Just, I have a personality. I have this person, I'm not just a stodgy brand. Don't be afraid to pull back that curtain and show a little vulnerability, show a little behind the scenes, show a little bit of just kind of, this is me as an organization. So like, for an arts organization, it's showing the messy bits of like, hey, we're building a set and we're all covered in sweat and, paint and stuff is flying through the air. And yeah, it looks messy and chaotic, but it's really cool because then you see the final product. Or it's, the one time that like I was doing an Instagram live and I walked into a pole in the costume shop and it was kind of one of the greatest moments of my life. And, but because then people got to see like the whole costume shop as I'm like spinning around, with blood on my face. It was great. And then if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna add your digital marketing plan and add that into your kind of mix and rotation, especially if you're a small business, to just be really, really, really conscientious of where you are and where you're gonna go, and don't go somewhere that's going to extend your reach beyond what you can do, because like with social, if you're there, like, you got to be there every day. And it's more than just, I'm going to have my niece post on Facebook. It's you have to be able to tell a story.
Consistency
and consistency is key, unfortunately. And on the flip side is whole assery of just oversharing not relevant content.
Yeah, and sharing for just the quantity purpose, not for the quality.
Yeah, and so like think it, like, really, I guess my biggest takeaway is to think it through. How does this play into what you're already doing? How does this play into, how does a digital marketing plan kind of play into the bigger picture? And it's helpful and it's great and you need it, but you need more than that. And so just making sure that you have this kind of holistic approach to whatever your problem is. Otherwise, you'll still be successful, but you just won't be you won't be as successful as you need to be.
You'll be at a 2x instead of a 7x or something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, what you're saying, especially whenever you went back to, we had the people that are the tried and true, and then we had these 2 other segments, and it's having that strategy in knowing who your audience is, knowing who you are as a brand. Who are you? What is your audience? What value do you bring to those particular audiences? And once you identify those, then it's what channels are they on?
Right.
More times than not, you don't have enough budget to hit everything. Going back to you need to hit someone 7, 10, 15 times. If you only have $1,000, you can't be on Google and Facebook and everything. Otherwise, you're only going to hit everyone once, and they're not going to have the brand recall. And so being methodical with where you're actually showing up, where your audience is, and it's like, if you bake cookies, you probably don't want to be on LinkedIn too much unless you're trying to reach businesses, but it's identifying the platforms in which your actual audience is on.
Exactly. And a lot of these social accounts now that have these tools like Facebook Businesses and YouTube for Business, if you have a database that has email addresses, you can essentially do a reverse lookup and see if your database is on those platforms. And so, if it makes sense for you to be on YouTube but not Facebook, that's 100% okay. Don't just have a Facebook page because you're supposed to have a Facebook page. Like, use the tools available to you.
So you guys have an actual CRM to where...
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What?
So we are on, it's called Tessitura. It's
that's right.
A CRM that's used by a lot of arts organizations in the Valley. It's what I've been on for a number of years now, I really enjoy it because you can customize, so you can customize your web experience, which is super, super helpful in targeted ads. So watch, you click on an ad from me, right? You hit a landing page that takes you to a ticketing page. The minute you hit that ticketing page, if I have your email address already in my system, I can associate and track every single I can track your purchase path all the way through from when you hit that ad and I didn't know who you were through your point of sale, and I can attribute that back to your account. So you can see that Caitie Quick clicked on this ad and she hit these pages and she went through this purchase path. She abandoned her cart. She got this email. She clicked on the email, and it's kind of creepy. But again, if I'm not borderline creeping you out with how much I'm following you, I'm not doing my job.
We're bringing you.
Right. Yeah. That's really it. And Testatura just allows us to have that experience and
to definitely
grab
a lot
these people
further down the road than a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
That's, as cool as the Facebook ads and all that stuff is, the my biggest piece of advice is the CRM piece. It's sure, you're placing all these, but what is this resulting into in sales? But not even then. Even if you were to track just the sales you get from it, what is that person do over the next year?
Right.
And then it helps you identify the lifetime value of a customer, which then, I've seen it more times than not where it might cost $50 to make $40, which doesn't make sense on the surface, but over the course of the year, they end up spending $1,000. So then it's and the initial response is, let's get rid of this, we're losing money. But then if you were to actually track everything and have that lifetime value of a customer, you'd be like, I'll spend $50 to make $1,000 over the year.
Okay, I like to revise my statement when you're what's the one thing? Have a CRM, because honestly, yes, they can be they can look like they're cost prohibitive, but if you don't know who you're talking to and you don't know how they're interacting with you and you don't know if that ad that you spent time and money on crafting and making sure that it had the right call to action, making sure your website was up to date and up to speed where you needed it to be, it doesn't matter if I come into the store or not, because I'm still some anonymous weirdo on the internet. I want to be the anonymous weirdo on the internet that what I'm doing. Did I open an email? Do I respond to web ads? Because that was one thing that one of the first things that I do when I'm starting up a campaign is, who am I talking to? Am I talking to people who only buy on the web? I'm not going to mail them a postcard right away.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait and see if they take the digital bait. Whereas the people who consistently over years and years and years and years and years buy over the phone, I'm not even going to target them with digital ads, because I know how to reach you, and so I don't need to worry about that, and I can spend the money on the folks that I don't yet have, or I can spend the money on the folks who are kind of all over the place, making sure I hit them as effectively as possible.
Yeah, I love that you said I need to find out who I'm talking to, because that at the very root of all this, that's all it is digital communication. Yeah. It's, what am I saying to an audience? The more data you have on someone, the better of a conversation you can guide. If you know that they love this show and love baseball and love outdoors, then maybe have some creative that shows something but next to a baseball field or whatever it may be. It's just, it allows you to communicate a little bit more personalized that would actually get someone to go, oh, yeah, I'm interested, rather than, hey, we have art. Hey, we're a theater. Hey, you know what I mean?
Come over here and see my things. When you're out there with millions of other people saying the exact same thing, it's hard. And so, like you said, having those personalized conversations is the deal breaker. Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm huge on this. So many people shop for what is the cost of that rather than what is the value it brings. So it's like $5,000, I can never do that, blah blah blah, with the CRM. But what if that $5,000 over the course of 6 months generates an extra $100,000 in revenue?
Yeah.
Is that really too expensive then?
It's like you will find out if I have a time machine, I can take you 6 months in the future and show you by investing this money now and taking this hit that might be like, cool, I'm gonna eat Kraft macaroni and cheese for the next couple nights. Fine, but so I can show you where I'm gonna be in 6 months,
it's an investment.
That's a no-brainer, and you will literally be kicking yourself for missing out on that money.
Yeah, because the time is going to go by.
Right.
Might as well invest into something that's going to get you to the next level.
Exactly.
And a CRM is a huge thing that could do that, because as you mentioned, it's even with HubSpot, you can get notifications when someone opens an email or whenever they're on a particular spot of a website. Yeah. So it's like, if I know they're looking at SEO, here, let me shoot an email real quick about SEO and some white papers on how we've done it better. And it's like, once you understand what someone wants, just give them value.
Yeah, and give them one thing that whenever I'm talking to folks about like the purchase path of like how many clicks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. How many?
That is great.
I do this all the time. Please yell at me if I just go off the topic. Yeah, like I just now. So how many clicks does it take to get from, hey, I saw a thing, and hey, I took action, to buying something, right? And if you have to, okay, click on an ad, click on a landing page, hunt for the button, click on the button, pick my seats, click on another button, confirm, yeah, this is fine, click on a button, okay, my credit card information, okay, click a button, are you sure? Yes, go. Oh, do you want to donate? Yes or no? Okay, next button, and now you're there. It's like,
love where you're going with it.
So many people just fall off that wagon, and so if you can just say, hey, I know that you are looking for SEO, here's something on SEO, click one button, take an action. Like,
Path
give them what they want.
least resistance.
Yes.
Every click takes time, and there's one thing that everyone has in common. It's everyone wants more time back in their day. Like, that's, so if you're creating someone to take more time to get to the point you want them to, you're just doing yourself a disservice.
Whereas if you have like HubSpot, which I've never used, but I love it. I've seen what they can do.
Yeah.
And if you can say, hey, this person's looking at SEO, you're not gonna spend time trying to sell them on remarketing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna waste that energy. You're gonna say, hey, this is exactly what you're looking for. I know that. Here's the thing. Here's how I can help you. Let's party.
Yep. It just makes the sales process more efficient. Yeah. Less time. Less time means you can do more. It's all good. I mean, it's...
And honest to God, like, if I, if I was on your site and I was like, oh, I got this email about digital marketing and remarketing, and then you sent me a follow-up communication saying, hey, you're interested in this thing, you have my attention. Like, I'm not I'm not gonna continue to shop around. I'm gonna stop talking to other agencies. I'm gonna be like, Dustin, what's going on? What are you doing today?
Exactly. So. And even then, it's almost like, I mean... It sounds funny saying it, but like if I'm looking at an SEO page and all of a sudden I get an email from the person I've been talking to that's about SEO, all of a sudden you're like, well, this is meant to be.
Yeah.
Like,
it's kismet. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's all psychological. It's all communication psychological. It's insane. And I loved how you brought up, like, whenever you're doing research on someone, what are you guys using for a headline? Where are you guys taking me? It's one of the things that we're going to be doing here before the end of the year is, so I'm huge on trying to create opportunity by typing things in, and let's say you don't even have a presence in Arizona, but you have a search ad here, what you guys are spending money, how much are you wasting? So we're going to be taking literally screenshots and everything, and there's a couple platforms I found where you can target companies specifically, like employees of, or the creative is going to be, look, you're doing this, how much money are you wasting by doing this? And also, like, identifying someone's pain point and saying that you have a solution. Also, talk about someone's bottom line and their revenue, and you'll get on the phone
like, you
quickly.
Literally have my attention.
I mean, who knows? It might not work. I think it'll work because it's...
So if I got that ad, right? So so one of the things that we have going on is this 10-day arts experience at the waterfront in Scottsdale. But anyway, but it's this huge event that folks are coming out for, and we are targeting people outside of Arizona because, it's a huge holiday travel season starting, and we have a national presence already with this event, so folks are traveling for these things. It's cool, but if you're seeing a non-convergence ad because we're working off the same SEO terms, or we're working off of the same kind of digital skeleton, if you're seeing an ad for JJ Gray for a one-night show that's going to be in Scottsdale in January, I've not done my job right, and we need to fix something because like you said, like, and if you called that to my attention, I would be like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. Someone noticed, and someone has a solution. You have my full attention. What's up?
That's my exact thought process. And I mean, who knows? I mean, there might be bad feedback, but I don't know. I think
if you get bad feedback, your feedback to their bad feedback, and stop doing your job like horribly because you're screwing up, man. Like, you should never be hearing from me in the first place.
Yeah, I'm excited to get it going and see how it works. Yeah, we just literally got our search and got YouTube up and going yesterday.
Awesome.
And search going.
That's so cool.
Monday. Yeah, super stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what is your biggest enjoyment out of all this? Like, what gets you up in the morning wanting to come back and be a digital marketer?
I mean, I get to creep people out on the internet. It's like my dream. No, it's I mean, honestly, I'm incredibly lucky that I get to make I get to get people excited about things that I'm excited about. I didn't have a theater background really in high school. I am what has been lovingly referred to as a professional extrovert. So I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of person. I can turn it on and off when I absolutely have to, but I really enjoy that look that folks get when they connect with an art experience for the first time. When you know, when people sit in a theater and they have that moment that just reduces you to tears, or when you see, you know, an art piece that you're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know cubes of light could make me feel feelings. That moment and watching that moment over and over in my career has just been a wonderful experience, and I want to. Yeah, I mean, I want to keep doing that. I want, you know, Phoenix art scene in the last 5 years has really, really stepped up its game. I mean,
really,
there are so many other like indie theater companies that are out here doing amazing work that like the big established theaters are scared to touch, but that are doing it so well that they're gathering all this attention.
Thinking outside the box.
Yeah, they are. I mean, like there's some of the college theater companies are just putting on productions that. True story. Last spring, I saw Mr. Burns, a post-electric play that was done by MCC students and directed by the guy who founded Stray Cat Theater. It was an incredible. It's basically a post-apocalyptic piece that focuses. There's a horrible event, and then it talks about it like 7 weeks, 7 years, and 75 years after this event, and the through line is the retelling of a Simpsons episode from Cape Fear, which is. It sounds bonkers. I understand that. It sounds absolutely bonkers, but it was so well done and it was so moving that I was watching these 19-year-old kids laying everything out, and I was like, holy crap. You guys were awesome.
Yeah.
And so but seeing that happening now at like the bigger established companies and seeing people that aren't afraid to take these artistic risks, you know, makes me want to say, okay, well, if you're not scared to take a risk, I'm not scared to take a risk. I'm going to go outside my box as a digital marketer and as just a marketer in general and say, what tools do I have available to me? How can I make this really cool art seem relevant and get it in front of your face?
Yeah, that's cool.
It was a rambling answer. It wasn't cool.
No. Basically, at the end of the day, you're doing your job to connect theater to someone that didn't even know they had a passion for it, and then you bring it together and just see the joy. I mean, that's the same reason why I'm into this. Like, what are some of the creative pieces that you guys do? Is it a lot of video, a lot of image, a lot of because going back to your like behind the scenes and all that, I could see where like getting an interview from the main character on just like what it's like to act that way, like just being able for giving someone insight into being able to relate to that person and not like, oh well, here's the main actor, blah blah, but what do you guys do?
So the hierarchy of stuff, I guess, is written word is better than nothing, and image is better than written word, and video is better than image. So anytime that we can, especially because we are visual and performing arts, it's like I can describe this to you until like my face turns blue, or I can show you and you can make that connection yourself, and you can just, oh, great, this is fun, thanks. So we get video and photography whenever possible. I mean, we all have our smartphones, so we don't even have, I mean, I'm on like an original Pixel, like it's fine. It does the job. I can get the photo and the video that I need. And so just being able to have that freedom and the understanding from the artists, from the creators of saying, hey, you know, if I show this process, if I show this tour, if I get this video of me walking through a museum exhibition, I will get more people. There is one misconception that I get from a lot of folks is, well, if you peel back that curtain, people are going to say, oh, okay, well, I've seen whatever it is you're trying to show me. I don't want to see the final product. I have the bootleg right here. And I'm like, no. This was something that I ran into all the time at the opera was, if you let me into the rehearsal process, I'm not going to show something that's going to make you look bad. I'm going to show something interesting that folks don't get to see to get their interest. And that's it. And so being able to do, but being able to, I guess, get those images and get those videos and show people the experience, gave them a deeper understanding of the piece in general, whether it was an opera, whether it was an art exhibition, whether it was a concert, whether it was a theater production. And we found that the more we peeled back and the more we stripped down and said, this is all of the inner workings, people were so excited because then they got to say, oh, you know, I'm sitting in the theater and I'm watching this show, and oh, I saw how they make the house and they make it move across the stage like that, or I saw how they do the quick change, or I saw how the trap doors work, and it was really cool. And it doesn't take away from the magic in the moment, but it deepens that understanding. So
I absolutely love it, and I totally agree, because it's, I mean, as much as everyone laughs and jokes about reality TV,
oh gosh, no,
everyone loves it because it's a glimpse into someone else's reality that they don't have, and that's to everyone in the theater, it's normal to them, it's not interesting, but to someone, an outsider, that's super interesting. And then to your point, you see how things are made, and then it just makes you excited, like, oh, I gotta see this. Like, I've seen the building, like, why wouldn't I want to see the grand opening? And it just, people love to see the behind the scenes. It's that, like, how things are made. I mean, there's tons of shows.
There's literally a show called How It's Made, and I love
exactly. It. And I mean, how many, like, Dirty Jobs and all that, like, who would have thought that following around a garbage man would actually make national television? But it gives someone a glimpse into something that they've never been able to experience other than they're a garbage man.
Right, okay, I see you twice a week on, you know, Tuesday and Thursday, great. Or like to your point of interviewing, like, a main character, you know, one thing that we saw was when we, at the theater, they were so awesome about this. Usually the lead character and usually a supporting character from every single production gave either an on-camera interview or a text interview, and we just promoted the hell out of it, because then it also made that connection. So you were no longer a theater and you were no longer watching a show at a theater. You were watching Caleb Reese and Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and you were able to relate to him, and you were like, cool, he seems like a really awesome dude, which he totally is. And you had a reason, because he became almost like your friend. And so it was no longer going to see a dude in a show. It was, I'm going to go see this guy, Caleb, who's a really awesome human in this really awesome show.
Yeah. All about being relatable, not being that...
Be a person.
Yeah. Not being that just... Here's a show. Buy tickets. Like, that's what everyone else does. Give people insight. Become relatable. Give someone a reason why they want to see it. Like, everyone knows that you're going to be there. I mean, even if they don't know, we're going to be here, buy tickets typically isn't going to do it. No. Like, it's I love that you guys are doing all that. I'm super surprised, because there's so many. I mean, I've worked at a few agencies where, I mean, I'm dealing with bigger brands that were like, they'd have over $1 million a month in ad spend, but we'd have the same banner ads for 3 months. Like,
that hurts my soul, man. Oh my God. Like, that's one thing that I'm currently working with my design team right now is, yes, this is a great ad. I love it. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's crisp. But you've got like a month on it, maybe. If I could, I would change out creative every 2 to 3 weeks.
I was gonna say 2 weeks. I mean, feel is like the perfect. Like,
it really is.
Gives you enough data to make decisions. It's not too much where it gets fatigue. It's,
right, and really, it's like you're not changing. You're not, even if you don't change the call to action, if it's a banner ad, if it's like I think it's like a 728 by 90, just swap out that background image.
Yeah,
just give me 3 different versions.
I mean, if you guys are doing direct buys, you can't really do it. But I mean, even if you're using GDN and doing the topic targeting or something, once you start seeing what website it's showing up on,
just
start producing creative that might be in line with that website, that maybe a color that clashes with everything else, so it sticks out a little bit more, but it's not, let's just set it and forget it. And that's so many. And
I've been guilty of that too, because I mean, you've got so much just coming at you, and it's on to the next, but if you can break that cycle of just churn and burn, it's gonna be a little bit more work, but you're gonna see so much more return, and at the long run, it will make your job easier.
Yeah, typically things that produce ROI, things that are good, don't come easy.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they usually just don't fall in your lap. I mean, back when Facebook ads first started, sure, because it was new, everything, but it's gonna take work, it's gonna take time. Like, it's no company wants to have to redo banner ads every 2 weeks, but if you put a process in place to where it gets done, eventually it'll be just another process, and then the ROI, once you start looking at your financials, a quarter later, year over year, it's amazing what...
Or even, on the conversely, you can say, you know what, swapping out banner ads on, every 2 weeks is not worth it, but you'll have the data to make that decision. Yes. Data-driven decisions is like my, homie right now. I mean, you can have an unpopular opinion, but if you're like, yo, in this situation, it makes sense. Here's my proof. And I'm like,
drop the mic.
Done. Bye. Great. Whatever you just said, I hate it, and I'm gonna cry a little bit, but I agree with you. Let's make the change.
Yeah.
Like, do it.
Yep. It's amazing. I mean, we're just living in a world where we're getting more and more data, but yet it's not being used. And going back to egos, it'll become, because I think data in and of itself is just brand new.
Right.
I mean, in the course of like this entire world, it is new, and it's just a matter of time before people like our age who just see it all of a sudden become a little bit older and become the decision makers, and then it's just going to be part of everything, because it's when I've seen that the data is just so black and white, but we go with this because that's weird and I don't like it, and that's not really good decision.
You can make that decision and that's fine because you're a human with free will. However, that's bad and you should feel bad, and I'm going to tell you you're bad. So.
Yeah. There's also on the other end, people just looking at the wrong data. For example, like, hey, let's do this because we need to get more followers. But it's like, okay, well, followers only, it's great, but are these followers resulting into sales?
Exactly.
And it's, sure, you want to focus a little bit on followers because it should result into sales, but you also need to quantify, are they resulting into sales? And it's
we had this at on the Opera's page when I first started. Was the majority of the fans on the Opera's Facebook page, it was robust, our reach was through the roof, but our conversion rate was literal garbage. And I went through, and the majority of the people who, like, when we saw like this growth of followers on Facebook, it was over like a 6-month period. We had like a couple thousand new engagements. We're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But then we're like, wait, why isn't this translating? We didn't even see a bump in sales, because the majority of the people who were interacting with the page were artists, were directors, were the creative teams involved in the productions, and so
people in the industry, and not someone that would purchase.
Right. And so that when we saw that, I just remember like I had this, because it was like really when we first started digital marketing, like my stomach just like sank into my shoes, and I was like, well, learning experience, and this is not what I need to be doing. Let's get better. But again, like I had that ability to fail, and I failed hard. That was 6 months of hard work and money that was basically like, cool, we're gonna light it on fire now, Caitie. Appreciate everything you've done.
It's tough, but it's a good learning.
And you know what? I didn't make that mistake again.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, and then I made that money back, and it was great.
That's what it's about, is being okay to fail every once in a while. It's like, obviously you don't want to be failing 100% of the time, but without failure, you're basically not trying to do something different, which is going to produce good results. And it's finding that fine balance of let's not fail 100% of the time, but let's not succeed 100% of the time. It's we need to be doing something to where we're pushing ourselves to where we do fail. But we will learn from that, and it'll help us in our approach as we go through this year, next year, and keep moving. And it's just
like you said earlier, like find what's that acceptable risk level, like what's that acceptable percentage? Is it like 10% of your time and budget and energy? 20%? Like, where are we at? And living with that and being comfortable and making that scary decision, and not wanting to pull back at like the first sign of failure.
I would even say, and I'm trying to figure out how to put this into verbiage or whatever, but it's almost like this is gonna fail. Like, you're not gonna make anything. It's awesome if we do get something off of it, but we're not gonna run it or put it in market for a month and then we see nothing and all of a sudden we retract, because that's like, not what it's for. Let it go. Let the campaign go. Let it breathe. Let it see what you're gonna do. And I've had these ones where we'd run a campaign and it was like garbage for like 5, 6, 7 weeks, and we're just like, oh my god, this is a disaster. And then it clicked and it kicked, and it was just churning, and it was wild. We're like, what changed? What happened? And we're like, we let that campaign go, and it was just the right combination of right timing, right audience. It was a fundraising push, and so nonprofits operate on like you have like a 2 month. Two times of the year that are just like really big for fundraising. It's end of the calendar year and end of the fiscal year, and so we started this thing at like the end of the calendar year, which is
you know, if you give us money in this year, you have to take it off next year's taxes, and it's like a huge thing. So if you give money in December 2018, you can take it off of 2018 taxes. And it's easier for folks to participate in those campaigns because it's top of mind. It's a calendar that affects them personally. The other one is the end of fiscal, so it's the last month or two before your fiscal year resets, which for a lot of nonprofits in the Valley is June 30th. And those campaigns, those end of fiscal year campaigns, are really, really difficult because, if I make a donation to an organization in May, I'm honest to God not going to remember it the next time I file my taxes. Yep. I will literally not. Like, I just know that. But we started this campaign for the end of calendar year for this December fundraising push. Didn't really resonate. It was like, okay, well, that's fine, I guess. And, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep chucking a couple bucks at this every month. Just see what happens. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, it was basically money that was just going to sit there anyways. And so it was just kind of like nothing last week of June. Holy Jesus. We made the money back. And we were like, literally, Caitie, what'd you do? And I was like, I don't know. I camped on a couple of SEO, like a couple of keywords for 6 months and bought them.
But it was that. It might have just needed that time where people saw it like the first week, everyone saw it once. The second week, 2 times. Then finally got to the point to where that whole audience you're targeting saw it for the 5th, 6th, 7th time. Going back to you need to see it X amount of times before you make it. And it just hit that.
And we're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
It was
that's
weird.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we probably have to start wrapping up soon.
Yeah.
What is your I guess next 5-year goal? Is this where you're at, somewhere where you want to stay, or do you ever see yourself opening up a theater?
My God. Okay, so it's really funny because I get asked that question a lot. I love what I do. I honest to God, if this conversation hasn't proved that point yet. Oh my God, my 5-year plan is to develop a 5-year plan, man. I think in 18-month spans, like, let's be honest, I can get my life together enough for 18 months and then act on that accordingly. I love the organization that I'm at. I get to market so many cool, fun things, and I get to participate in so many fun things. I mean, it's visual art, it's public art, it's sculptures, it's festivals, it's events, it's performances, it's theater, it's classical music, it's literally everything under the sun. If you're looking for something fun to do, come hang out with me in downtown Scottsdale. It's super good. But I really enjoy it, and I'm still brand new, so I still have I haven't gotten cynical in this position yet. So I love it. So I work with a super awesome group of people, and really the arts, the nonprofit arts people in the Valley who run these organizations, like the teams at the Phoenix Symphony, Ballet Arizona Theater Company, Mesa Encore Theater, Tempe Center for the Arts, China Center for the Arts. Like, they are just such a good group of humans that not only want their organization to succeed, but they want everybody else to succeed. Because
that's cool.
Rising tides float all boats, right?
Yep.
So when Tempe Center for the Arts, and so when Tempe Center for the Arts is like having a gangbusters year, like $10 says I'm gonna have that exact same response, because it means that we're doing something right. We're raising awareness about art
in the industry itself,
and among arts aficionados and arts lovers and people who are even vaguely aware of art in Phoenix. So I mean, like, I love what I do and I want to keep doing it. As far as opening up a theater company, if I ever decide, you know what, I don't need sleep, I don't need personal relationships, I'm cool with eating like a Flora bar every day for like 4 or 5 years, I'll do it. But yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough that I have a job that I believe in 100%.
That's awesome.
I get paid for it.
There's a huge percentage of people that can't say that are miserable about waking up every day, going to work, and it's awesome to see. So cool to see. Someone from high school.
Like, oh my God, that is middle school, like legit middle school.
Yeah.
12 years old, being like weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, race face. Oh my God.
Well, going back to being able to target specific companies and stuff like that, who knows? Maybe in the next 12 to 18 months, EIC can go and target the entertainment and theater industry, and there might be a position opening up where you can just
be like, what's up? What's
You'll
up,
be
guys?
The director of the theater arts for EIC, and then you can help run all the different
my knuckles won't crack, but I just crack my knuckles because like.
No, because I love how you think. And I'm already like, man, how can we make it to where like once you're tired of that we can get you over here, because it's everything you're saying, just the personalization, the identifying audiences, and just how you think and everything like that. I absolutely love it, and it's exactly how I think, and it's how it should be done. And it's too many people take it to where it's let's just throw one ad out there, and I see the passion, and it's I'm like, man, once you get tired of that, hopefully we've grown enough to where we might have a little position open. And
I mean, you know how to get a hold of me, so like don't lose my number. I am available for consulting work.
But yeah, that's actually a great point. So I mean, as we're wrapping up, where do you work? How can people find that, and then how can they find you? So kind
shameless plugs.
Here's
Great.
your plug for whatever you like.
Now I can do my job. So yeah, my name is Caitie Quick, and I am at Scottsdale Arts. That is the overarching arts organization that encompasses Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts, Scottsdale Museum of Contemporary Art, Scottsdale Public Art, Canal Convergence, the Arts Festival, and our education and outreach programs. We serve the entire population of Scottsdale through whether it's through visual or performing arts or our education and outreach programs. I noticed that my voice just changed because now I'm professional, Caitie. Don't do that. Oh my God. Yeah, so you can generally find me hiding behind the scenes. I'm the person who's, if you see Scottsdale Arts logo, or if you see, SMOCA's logo or the Center for Performing Arts logo, anywhere out in the wild, it's either myself or my counterpart, Zach Boatwright, who is just, if you think that I'm cool, like that man is a wizard. Honest to God.
Can't wait till Thursday.
Oh my God, no, you think that this is nerdy, like wait till you meet Boatwright.
I can't wait.
It's wild. So yeah, we've got a full packed schedule. We do 180 some odd performances at the Center for Performing Arts a year.
Wow.
That runs September. Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
That's
a lot.
And
we've got a full, a contemporary art museum that is currently, we have 2 exhibitions of that are just incredible. One is Nkame, which is a retrospective of Belkis Ayon, which was a Cuban printmaker, so she explores Afro-Cubano and Afro-Caribbean mythology through printmaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
So cool. But it's so cool. It sounds super specific and it sounds kind of dry, but just check it out. And then Double Agents, which is this married team of Pedro Reyes and Carla Fernandez, which explores basically how Mexico is reeling with and dealing with its resurgence in violence and how it's affecting especially indigenous communities. So like they've got art pieces crafted from decommissioned weapons.
Wow.
And then, it's incredible. Just check this stuff out. And then, Canal Convergence 10-day Art, Light, Water Music Festival.
Nice. What is the website and what social channels are they on?
Oh my God, dude. I've got like 27 social channels, man. Don't make me do this. So if you go to scottsdalearts.org, you can reach any of these.
That's the main hub.
That's the main hub. Specifically, though, canalconvergence.com for a full schedule of events. We've got Dirty Dozen Brass Band on November 8th. You're going to see them for free outside of the Scottsdale waterfront. So yeah, scottsdalearts.org. Come hang out with us. Come see what we've got going on. There's literally something for everybody.
That's cool. Love it. Appreciate your time, and I look forward to Thursday. And I can't wait to see how much more we talk. Cause it's gonna
get creepy.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I love this kind of talk. So, well, appreciate you coming in, and I'm sure you will be back on here pretty soon.
I'm very excited.
Good combos.
You guys are doing like some amazing work, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you having me out here and letting me ramble for an hour and some odd minutes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Yeah.